Welcome to another episode of Judge for Yourself. On today's show, we're going to talk about investment in sport. South Africa has hosted many international events, from the Rugby World Cup in 1995, the successful FIFA World Cup in 2010. Now it wishes to bid to host the Commonwealth Games in Durban in 2022. But what kind of value for money do we get from spending billions on these big events? And are we doing it at the expense of development? See, the programs that we offer here are really about the Constitution, and the Constitution mandates transformation. And the real question is, how do we transform the fabric of our society, including the very important issue of sport? Now, some time ago, we had a very interesting program, certainly I thought so, on the question of rugby and the issue of the transformation of that particular sport. And so here again, one wonders, in this particular case, all this money that is being spent, is this the best way, particularly when the critique was offered that it was because we're not developing at the higher level that we can't expect to see better at the higher levels? Now, if you like to join the debate, please do so on Twitter and use the hashtag JFYSports. Now, to discuss this particular topic, I'm joined in Cape Town by Liz McGregor, journalist who's recently written extensively on sport and transformation, particularly in relation to rugby, and Malatsi, the DA Shadow Minister of Sport. Let me start with you, because it's partly because of you that I'm doing this again, because one of the things that you dealt with in your discussion with us last time round was this issue that, in fact, unless we develop at the lower end, we're not going anywhere. And you gave examples of schools. Now, I mean, what's the point of spending all this money?
Well, I mean, I think it's a good point, because until we have, we still have no sports education in schools on a systematic basis in most schools. So 4 years on from 2010, when we spent all that money on hosting the FIFA Soccer World Cup, our national team is still not hugely improved, and neither do we have any grassroots development. So maybe we should take a look back and see, you know, what should our priorities be? Is this the right way to spend our money?
What do you say?
Look, I think we are punching above our weight in terms of hosting major sports event. There is no doubt that, you know, sports is a uniting force, you know, that is able to unite different sections of society. But we must also bear in mind that when we bid for events, or when we should be bidding for events, we should be bidding them because we believe that we've got teams that are competitive enough to actually be a global force in those sports categories. And often the case, we haven't done so. And what we have become is a nation of serial hosts, where we jump at the opportunity to host a major sports event. And the argument is that, you know, it goes beyond that. You know, it generates tourism into the country. It helps boost the local economy. But that doesn't trickle down into sports development. And we can use the example of the FIFA World Cup. You know, it's still 4 years after the event. So the Pro World Cup, people can argue that there'll be enough time to measure that. But out of the 52, for instance, legacy project, which involved the construction of AstroTurf pitches that were supposed to be built as part of the legacy project, only 25 have been built 4 years after that World Cup. So it also shows that there is a mismatch in terms of our capacity to invest in local and rising young talent.
Well, let me put this to you. Let me say, and I should have said this right up front, was the ANC. We did invite them. They apparently had another engagement. SASCOC, on the other hand, we invited. They messed us around. We haven't got them here. But we do have a clip from Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, who's shown on this particular clip to be showing that actually hosting major events is important, and particularly in relation to uniting of the country. And I wonder if we could play that to show you what he said.
We've used sport ever since that time as a very effective tool to unite our nation. It serves as the glue that puts us all together, that binds us together. We also saw what happened with the 2010 World Cup. That whole event, much as we didn't win, was able to glue us together and make us one nation.
Well, that's his argument. He says, you see, look, we're all united. But I'm not sure we are all united. That's what I wanted to ask you.
I think we're united briefly, which was lovely. But I think the one that was really united us was the 1995 World Cup. And we to take Soli's point here, because that was a hugely nation-building event. Because we won, you know, that I think makes a huge difference.
But then we won, and then once we won, and we started thinking about it, we started wondering, well, we've got to kick on from there. Next time round, we'd have a team that reflects our nation rather better.
Exactly. So 20 years later, we're still going to have about, you know, if we're lucky, 2 African Springboks. So, you know, as we were talking about earlier, I think maybe we need to rethink. Do we need to focus so much on winning, or do we need to focus our teams more on something else?
Okay, well, that's a good moment for me to take a break, and then we'll be back.